Hello and welcome to a short tutorial on how to create your first pipeline in Datrics. So we're going to create a new project, the new pipeline here. You can upload your own files by uploading different flat files or connecting databases, but we're going to be using one of the pre-populated sample files. So the very first thing we need to do is have a look at the data, and we see that most of the data is numeric, but the neighborhood is denoted as text and roof material is denoted as text. And also there's the ID, which clearly we shouldn't use for our models. And what we're trying to predict is the sale price of the house. So let's try to do very first thing and figure out if there are any missing values in the data. We're going to grab the missing values treatment brick, and for example, we see that the roof material has 3 missing observations. We can treat those manually, or we can do the auto suggestion, and let's select the auto suggestion. So the next thing we're going to do is filter out a column. If you remember, the observation ID was in here and we don't need it for the modeling. And the next thing after that, do the encoding. So if you remember, the neighborhood and roof materials were text, and we will convert that to be the numerical variables. So for example, neighborhood will be converted to a label, and roof material will get the one hot encoding treatment. So let's press run. And let's see what the results look like. So neighborhood was changed to a number, and we see that there are a lot of different numbers, but each roof material got its own category basically. So for example, here we see if it's a clay or tile roof material, and there are only zeros and ones. And here, for example, we can see if it is a composite shingling, for example. And this data is good enough to put it into a machine learning model. So we will select the LGBM regressor model, but feel free to use any other regressor models and figure out which one suits you best. The target variable is going to be the sale price, and that's pretty much it. So let's press run once more time, and LGBM regressor is trained. So we can have a look at the model performance, and we can see that, for example, the coefficient of determination is 92%, which is not that bad. And we can also see the feature importance. So the most important features are the neighborhood and above ground living area, which makes sense. The bigger the house and the fancier the neighborhood, but also the year built and the year sold. So basically the age of the house matters a lot. Once we have this model, we can also use it like outside of the platform. So for that, there is the API that is automatically created for every model that has been trained. And the additional neat thing is there is this what if analysis. Basically, this is the possibility to figure out what the API would return. So for example, we can see that for this sample house, the predicted price is $220,000. But if this house was, for example, 3 years newer, the price would be like 40,000 higher. If, for example, it was a bit smaller house, the price changes from 260 to 184,000, which actually does make sense. Yeah, so feel free to build your own pipelines and experiment. You can use some visualizations through dashboards. You can export your data back to the databases if you want to, or you can just use the APIs. Once you are happy with your pipeline and you would like to run it on a schedule, you can press deploy. And here, for example, let's select the pipeline that will run 7 a.m. On Tuesdays, for example, and we can press deploy. When we go to deployments, we see that it should start at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. So yeah, and one more thing here is there are quite a few templates. So if you don't feel like starting a pipeline from scratch, you can easily take one of the templates and start with that. So for example, for demand forecasting, you can use the template that looks like this, and it ends with a visualization. So thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.